What's up? What's good? We are back on the channel today with another banger. And I know it's been a minute. Life kind of got in the way, but we're back, and I'm really glad to be making this video right now. It's college football playoff season, and I wanted to make like a prediction video, so I'll just do my bracket, and I guess we'll just go from there. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, let's start off. Clemson, Texas. This should be a fun one because Texas has kind of been sliding a little bit. Um, well, they lost to Georgia in the SEC championship game, their second loss to Georgia this year, and they low key haven't really played many like great teams this year, or at least beat any great teams, right? Like they've beaten some pretty bad teams this year. Um, like their marquee win this year was like that Michigan game, but the Michigan didn't even have a good year. And then Texas A&M was a solid win, but like we're talking about like an 8-4 Texas A&M. That's not like an elite team. So again, Texas hasn't really like beaten any like quality opponents yet, and Clemson is a very quality team. I know they lost to South Carolina in a rivalry game. That was a bad loss, not a bad loss, but they didn't look great in it, right? But then somehow, some way, they turned around and won the ACC championship game against a red hot SMU team, and they were up big at halftime. And yeah, SMU came back and made that a really good game. But Clemson still won that game against an SMU team that won essentially every game since their like one loss to BYU. So SMU is a really good team, and Clemson just beat them. So I feel like Clemson has something to prove. They're like pretty decent underdogs here, right? Texas is established. Everyone's like, oh, like Texas is a great team, and they are. But I don't know if I trust Quinn Ewers, man. Um, he's had some pretty bad mistakes in big games recently, so I feel like Clemson could take advantage of that. And I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I'm gonna pick Clemson for the upset. I just think like Clemson's been playing really good football, specifically last against SMU, and I think Clemson's going to surprise a lot of people when they beat Texas. So yeah, I'm calling the upset right here. I think Clemson's going to win. Now on to the next game, Tennessee Ohio State. This is a tough one. As a Michigan fan, I hate Ohio State, but I just think they're like the much better team here than Tennessee. Tennessee still is a good team for sure, but I just feel like Ohio State's gonna dominate this game. I'm not gonna lie, and the game is at OSU as well, so gonna be some pretty good home field advantage for them. And it might be cold, might be some weather. I don't know about that yet, but I don't know. I just think OSU is gonna dominate this game. It just Tennessee had a good year. They kind of beat who they had to, and then won a couple of good big games against Bama specifically, right? But I just think OSU is just gonna dominate Tennessee this game. Now on to SMU and Penn State. All right. Now this one is interesting because Penn State's gonna have home field advantage. It's gonna be tough for SMU to go in there and play at Happy Valley, but I feel like a lot of people are doubting SMU just because they lost a close one to Clemson. Don't forget this SMU team was the hottest team in the country up until that loss, and they played a really damn good half of football in that second half to almost come back and win after they were down by a lot in that first half. So SMU is a really good team. It's just I think Penn State's going to be a little bit too much for SMU. Penn State's defense is elite, so I just feel like Penn State's just going to barely hang on in this game. Plus they're at home, so again, that should help them. The last first round game, Indiana, Notre Dame, an in-state battle. I don't know about Indiana. I'm not gonna lie. They have a solid team. They're not a bad team. It's just they haven't really played any like good teams on their schedule other than Ohio State, and they got the doors beaten off of them. So I just find it hard to think that Indiana's gonna win this game against a really good Notre Dame team that ever since their loss against not Miami Ohio, it was Northern Illinois. Yeah, they just have been on a dominant run. I just feel like Indiana just doesn't have it in them. So I'm gonna go Notre Dame. They've been the better team like throughout the year. Sure they have like the worst loss of any CFP team, but they've also been like really damn dominant since. So I just feel like Notre Dame's gonna beat Indiana, and I really want Indiana to win. I just don't think it's likely to happen. So those are my first round games. Now on to the quarterfinals. Clemson ASU. I don't know. This is a matchup between like two kind of Cinderellas, I guess, because Clemson kind of snuck their way in, stole Bama's spot. Shout out Clemson for that. And then ASU had a really surprise run this year to the CFP. They were picked dead last in the preseason Big 12 rankings and polls. They shocked everyone, man. They've been on a run. They've been beating teams left and right that a lot of people had beating them. So I think ASU's been really damn good, and Clemson's also a good team too. But I just feel like ASU's gonna keep the train rolling. They're gonna keep it going on to the CFP semifinals. Now this should be a fun one. The rematch, OSU Oregon. This was probably like a top 5 game of this year. It was amazing. Like, two of the best teams in the country at Eugene, Oregon. It was a great atmosphere watching it. The game came down to the last play. Will Howard sliding down. It was crazy. Give me Oregon again. I know it's hard for a team to beat the same team twice in the same year, but Oregon did a lot of good things against OSU that game. And one of the big takeaways I had was that Oregon wasn't even that efficient, like in the red zone that game. And they cleaned that up a decent amount for the rest of the year. So I feel like Oregon's going to beat Ohio State again. Will Howard's going to be seeing ghosts, and we're going to see Oregon in the CFP semifinals. And we're going to really have to start having that talk about whether Ryan Day is going to keep his job. I mean, he's not a bad coach at all. It's just like when you're at a program like OSU, I think you have expectations. And if you can't meet them, it's just like at a certain point, like you're going to get let go. So I don't know. Again, that's a talk for another day, but I think Oregon's going to be OSU again. Now, Penn State versus Boise State. This is a very, very tough matchup for Boise State. Penn State has an elite defense. I feel like they're going to shut down Ashton Jeanty. I don't want it to happen, but I feel like it's going to happen. Maybe not shut down, but they'll at the bare minimum like slow him down. And I just don't know if I trust Mark Maddox to like light up the Penn State defense either. So it's just a bad matchup for Boise State. Really wish I could pick them, but I just feel like Penn State's going to beat them. And I hope Boise State wins, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So I got Penn State winning that one. Notre Dame, Georgia. It's going to be a really good game. If this is the same Notre Dame team that has like been playing for the last 8 or 9 weeks ever since that disaster loss to Northern Illinois, then Notre Dame is going to beat Georgia. They've just been dominant. Georgia has looked shaky at times, and yes, they're coming off the win against Texas in the SEC championship game, but they don't have Carson Beck. They have a backup QB playing. They've looked vulnerable against good teams. They should have lost to Georgia Tech in all honesty, but they did come back and find a way to win. They just looked shaky a lot this year. They should have lost to Florida too until DJ Lagway got hurt, but I just feel like Notre Dame has been really dominant of late, and I think that's going to factor into them pulling off the upset here and beating Georgia, especially because Carson Beck's not playing. I think that's like the biggest issue. Obviously, a lot of people are down on him right now. I mean, I'm kind of down on him too, but yes, he has a turnover problem. But he's still Carson Beck. I'd still trust Carson Beck over their backup QB, so I just think Notre Dame's just going to win this game. On to the semis. Arizona State and Oregon. Kenny Dillingham versus his former team. This should be a fun one. I just think Dan Lanning has his boys prepared. I think Oregon's just going to honestly dominate Arizona State. Arizona State had a good run. They're a good team. It's just Oregon's just a lot better. They're a lot more talented, so I think the talent's going to win out. So I got Oregon going to the national championship. Then at the bottom, Penn State, Notre Dame. Do we get the Big Ten championship rematch? No, I don't think so. I think Notre Dame's going to keep their hot streak. They're going to keep their run going, and they're going to beat Penn State. Drew Aller has yet to face an elite defense that he's genuinely dominated. He struggled against Ohio State, And sure, he was decent against Oregon. I think that's more the matchup than like Drew Aller being elite. But I think Notre Dame's gonna win this one. Um, it should be a good one, should be a close one, but I just think Notre Dame has the it factor when it comes to their defense clicking on all cylinders. The offense is good enough right now. Jeremiah Love is a dog. Riley Leonard, yeah, like he has some like issues with accuracy and as a QB, but he's a great dual threat. So I'm gonna trust Notre Dame to beat Penn State in this one. Now we get to the national championship: Oregon versus Notre Dame. I just think the team that's been the best team this entire year, the only team that's like undefeated, um, the team that won the Big Ten championship game, I would think they would be the team to win it all, right? Like Notre Dame, sure they've had a good year, but like eventually their run was going to end, right? Yeah, it was gonna end. Oregon's gonna win the national championship, y'all. It's like this team is too good, too talented on both sides of the ball. The offense is great, the defense is great. They have a really, really experienced QB. The weapons he has at his disposal are amazing. Dan Lanning is a hell of a head coach. I just think it's all lining up this year for Oregon to win the national championship and hoist the CFP trophy. So that's my pick. Oregon to win the Natty. That's all we have for today, folks. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? What's your guys' picks? Do you think Oregon's going to win the national championship? Who do you have? Whatever it is, put it down in the comments below. And until next time.